And welcome back to the Hot Lap. Congratulations, Lando Norris, on your McLaren victory. Victory number one. I've got to eat a bit of humble pie. I even choked Norris earlier this week. I'm going to be choking on that humble pie at some point. Well done, McLaren. Well done, Lando Norris. I felt so sorry for Oscar Piastri. I mean, oh my gosh, the guy did so good up there in second, keeping tabs on Verstappen, keeping him under some kind of pressure. That's the first time we've seen that, really, for quite a while. The first McLaren win since 2021. It took Lando 110 races. We no longer have to laugh at Sochi in Russia, do we? That is now very much behind him. Let's get into the results for the Grand Prix. These are the fastest. I think these are the fastest laps. But the race results, Norris wins by 7.6 seconds. Verstappen just did not have an answer. Verstappen obviously second. Leclerc very much in third. Then we had Sainz, who was on par with Leclerc. And yes, well, we'll get into Carlos Sainz in a bit. Sergio Perez, disappointing. Torpedo. I mean, what is it with that second Red Bull seat? He was Daniel Kvyat today, wasn't he? His inner Daniel Kvyat. Hamilton sixth. I think, and really underwhelming Mercedes car, but absolutely fantastic Hamilton. Some of those moves he pulled off were absolutely brilliant. I don't think anyone could have got more out of that Mercedes today than Lewis. Tsunoda, really, really solid finish up there in 7th. Russell, I mean, about as solid as you can get in 8th. After that, not particularly good start. Alonso 10th, about as good as you can get, but well done. Esteban Ocon in 10th. Nico Hulkenberg finishing just outside the points. It looked like maybe. Then we had Piastri finishing up there in 13th, despite pretty much going down to the back after that incident with Carlos Sainz. We'll get into that. And I think definitely the second best driver of the day. You can even make an argument the best driver of the day, especially for that first half of the race. He really kept Verstappen in check. Zhou, kind of disappointing. I can't help but be Ricardo, bit disappointed really. Bottas, kind of where you thought. I mean, he got beaten by Zhou, who started, I think, behind him. So not particularly great. Then Magnussen, Albon and Logan Sargent. So, but let's get into each driver and tell us, and we'll tell you what we really think with our winners and our losers. Yes, there is our friend Lando. I mean, yeah, let's start. Let's start with Lando, shall we? I mean, wow. Wow. Lando Norris, absolutely fantastic. Okay, he started, I mean, Lando Norris, where did Lando start? He started in 5th, didn't he? I'm just absolutely reminding myself. So it wasn't a particularly great start, but Lando Norris, very much man of the race. Starting in 5th, and he didn't get a good start. It was Piastri that got the really good start and maintained that second place after, well, Sergio Perez long darted the top part of the grid, nearly hitting. I mean, we're talking inches away from Max Verstappen, but Lando Norris, he was lucky, yes, very lucky, under the safety car, but when the safety car came in, I thought, okay, here we go. How many laps is this going to last? Thinking, having Silverstone vibes from last year. But it never happened. And then he pulled out a second lead, and it just got bigger and bigger. 3, 4, 5, 6. And with 10, when it was 10 laps to go, I couldn't sit down. I was watching it with my brother. Neither of us, I think, could sit down. I was pacing up and down the room like a lion in a cage. I was just too nervous. Lando potentially winning his first ever Grand Prix, which he did. So, massive congratulations to Lando Norris. Well done. So, let's get into the other drivers then. We've got Kevin Magnussen, for me, the villain of the weekend. The worst driver of the weekend, I think. Not in terms of pace, but yeah. Absolutely near on the limit, I think, on more than one occasion at this weekend. We spoke about it in our sprint thing, and I'll continue. He's entertaining to see. I love the fact that he always gives it a go. He never gives up. But a bit, kind of like a bit near the limit and slightly over. Hence the penalties for Kevin Magnussen. But yeah, not the most impressive thing in the world for dear old K-Mag. And he ended up finishing 80. Well, no, where did he finish? Not 18th. He qualified 18th, didn't he? He finished, 64 seconds off in 18th. I think because of those penalties. So underwhelmed by KMA. But next up, we've got Nico Hülkenberg, again, the Haas MVP. I mean, this guy, yeah, he just finished outside the points. But again, showing Kevin Magnussen up. And the more this goes on, the more I wonder whether Haas are actually going to keep the Kevin Magnussen. At the moment, possibly. But the longer this goes on, the more doubts I'm going to have. So Zhao Guanyu really, started at the back after qualifying. A really disappointing weekend after what was, especially for the sprint race, a really good weekend in China. And his teammate, again, as much as I love Bottas, you can start to see why maybe he is not even number 1, 2, or maybe even number 3 on Audi's list. I do think he needs to improve if he wants to remain on Audi's list. So Daniel Ricciardo, overall, a really solid weekend, a really solid Saturday, let's say, Friday evening and Saturday, until we got into qualifying and the race where he kind of looked very average, let's say. But he did have a solid sprint race. He showed us qualifying 4th. That's something Tsunoda has not done at all. That he on his day, he can do it. And I just hope he does it in Imola. But as I said, I think either Tsunoda or Daniel Ricciardo are going to go. So Tsunoda, kind of like the opposite, where Daniel Ricciardo was good in the sprint, Tsunoda was good in qualifying and the actual race. Finishing 7th, scoring some really good, solid, finishing 7th, scoring some really good, solid points there was brilliant. So the big question, was this Logan Sargent's last race? I don't think it is. All these rumours about Kimi Antonelli going to Imola, I don't think it's going to happen. I think he had, in terms of pace, he went out, wasn't his fault. I think that was definitely more Magnussen. But in terms of pace, he had a much better weekend, arguably. This was his best weekend, I think, in terms of pace this year. Out-qualified Albon as well in the sprint. So more of the same. Could he save his bacon? I don't think so. But then again, I was making jokes about Lando Norris not winning earlier this weekend. So there we go. Eating humble pie, it could go wrong. Alex Albon, though, I can't help but think, so far this season, I've said it once and I'll say it again, I've been kind of disappointed this year. From 22-23 was peak Alex Albon, and here, not so much. I mean, that lockup he did, yes, fair enough. He was trying really, really, really hard, wasn't he? But yeah, finishing 19th in the end. Beaten, well, not by Sargent, but yeah, 19th. Disappointing. So, Esteban Ocon. Well, I do think his race tactics are a little not like Kevin Magnussen, but the way he moves on the braking, it never makes me comfortable. Having said that, what an absolutely solid race him and Alpine have done. First points for Alpine. Massive congratulations for Alpine there. Thumbs up. Well, yeah, well done. Well done, Alpine. Gasly, well, yeah, I mean, it's very much Esteban Ocon now is the man. As we've said before, he seems to be the man in Alpine. And Pierre Gasly can't really let that continue, because if either of these people want to get out of Alpine, they want to drive, at the moment, you'd put your money on Ocon, which I didn't think I would say come the end of come the end of last year. Lance Stroll, he is an F1 driver. He ended up, where did Lance Stroll, he didn't get any points, did he? No, he finished lowly 17th. Enough said, really, yeah. Didn't make any, he made some, fairly good moves during the race. But it's Lance Stroll. So, moving on, it's Fernando Alonso. Finishing 9th. Not the best weekend for Aston Martin, but I'm not sure why. Having said that, when you saw even qualifying with the Mercedes, the Aston Martins, even Lando Norris, the reaction that the really hot track had to the tyres was just plain weird. And I think it set a lot of teams off, either in a wrong direction or their preparation for the qualifying lap was really, really strange. Which means, is this kind of track an outlier for Red Bull that they're going to struggle on? A la maybe going into Singapore potentially. I guess only time will tell. So the other man of the race for me, a really solid job from Oscar Piastri. It's such a shame what happened between him and Carlos Sainz. Yes, I do think you can make an argument. Oscar Piastri pretty much near the limit or on the limit, or maybe just over. You can make all sorts of arguments for that. But then Carlos Sainz came steaming in, unlike Oscar. It was a bit more controlled and ended up smacking Oscar. And yeah, we'll get into the science bit in a bit, because I was sort of not particularly happy with him. But there we go. Man of the race again, Lando Norris. What more can I say? 110 Grand Prix. He's put Russia behind him. Congratulations, Lando. You were amazing. Thank you very much. I really, best race of the year, because we weren't sure who's going to win. Even behind, the top three, there was action pretty much all the way. Easily the best Miami Grand Prix that we've had. So here comes one of the villains of the piece, I think. So Carlos Sainz, Oscar Piastri pushed him off near the mark, near the limit. The FIA were like, no, it's okay. I can't understand why you got upset. But then he just kept whining and crying. Goodness me, he was definitely throwing his toys out the pram, wasn't he, out the cockpit in this occasion. And then he just lost his cool and, skedaddled into Oscar Piastri, potentially not. He said he thinks he damaged his car, definitely ending Piastri's potential race for the points, because they had to come in with the front wing. And if you wanted to know why Ferrari are maybe getting rid of one of those two drivers, that's one example why. That's Carlos Sainz doing silly things. Having said that, he has outpaced Leclerc for a lot of the season so far. But has Leclerc now got the better of Carlos Sainz? And I really expected better from Sainz. I'm mega disappointed in him there. Prove me wrong next race, Carlos, and have a really, really, really good race, because we know you can do it on your day. You are as good as anyone. Consistency is just, over the years between him and Charles Leclerc at Ferrari, consistency hasn't always been his thing. Sadly, he's as fast, I think, as Leclerc, faster sometimes, but it's not consistent enough, and he definitely lost his head today. Kind of disappointed, really. Charles Leclerc, I think, where Carlos Sainz finished fourth, Mr. Leclerc finished third. A solid result. I don't think there's anything more he could have done. I expected him to maybe beat Perez in the race. Obviously, that happened around the first corner, didn't it? He kind of put note to Sergio Perez's chances of a decent result, at least victory. But a really solid result in third. I don't think you could have expected any better. As you couldn't expect much better from this guy here, a la George of the Russell. Solid result. Yes, he finished behind Hamilton in 8th. But once again, after that first lap melee, let's say, I don't really think you could have expected, again, much more from George Russell. And if you wanted a third man of the race today, I genuinely think it's this guy here, but behind the two McLaren drivers. Why? Yes, he only finished in 6th. He is a Mercedes, but that Mercedes looked absolutely horrendous. Yes, he was behind Perez the whole time. A Red Bull, I might add, arguably, at least the second fastest car here in Miami. Kept him under pressure all the way, wasn't fast enough in a straight line to win, but really solid. He had some really solid passes. I did a few people here, but particularly Lewis Hamilton. I was really, really impressed. So well done, Lewis. It showed everyone this man still has it. So Sergio Perez, okay, you nearly took your teammate out at the first corner. Not particularly good, and maybe some other people, and then you finished 4th. Really just the worst race. One of his worst races for the season so far, albeit this is, we're only in May, so there's plenty more chances to go. Next race is going to be Imola. Hopefully he does better there. Fingers crossed. He was, in qualifying at times quite close to Max Verstappen as well, despite being, a bit further away than Red Bull would have wanted. And so we're going to end it with this guy right here in terms of our drivers. Verstappen, what more could he have done? He got beat today, car and driver. Lando Norris showed them, both. He did not have an answer to that McLaren. Yes, the safety car once again, absolutely, Lando was extremely lucky, but sometimes luck's on your side. Sometimes it really is not. And part of me wonders whether the safety car held Verstappen up, whether they picked up the wrong leader, and that allowed Norris to get ahead and make more than the time for a pit stop. So it was nice and relaxed, and then came out. But when the safety car came in, I thought, okay, here we go. Norris defended really well. Verstappen, I think, tried absolutely everything to get by him, and I don't think you could have asked any more from him. He was just on the day today. He was just beaten by Norris and the McLaren. I imagine it may well be service resumed as a la normal come Imola, but we're going to have to see. So, but I just want to say a massive. There you go. Charles Leclerc And Carlos Sainz, yeah, disappointing. I'm so disappointed in Carlos Sainz. But let's not forget this man of the race. Your first Grand Prix win is going to be Miami. You're not going to forget that for a while, where you beat Max Verstappen, the unbeatable almost. Unless he has a problem. This is the first time since Singapore that Max has been beaten in a straight fight. And this was kind of a straight fight with Max, even more so than Singapore, because Lando Norris was fighting with Max once the safety car had come in. So, yeah, absolutely fantastic. So, there we go. This has been the Miami Grand Prix winners and losers. We've gone through every driver. Once again, a massive congratulations to Lando Norris and McLaren. It was so nice that on Lando, when it's for my mum and dad and my grandmother, Mansour Roger McLaren are honouring as well, and Gilles de Ferran. I imagine the McLaren light, the Woking roundabout, should be orange right about now at the time of recording at 5 to 1 in the morning. I'm off to bed, hopefully. We will hopefully speak to you soon. If you have got this far, please give us a like, give us a subscribe. As you can see, I'm all prepared in my McLaren hat here. Once again, congratulations at McLaren. Congratulations at Lando Norris. Stay tuned here for more Miami Grand Prix fallout, probably tomorrow or Tuesday. And we will speak to you soon. Thank you very much.